Welcome, everybody, to Catching Up with Ketchum, Pokemon Journeys, Episode 7. I'm your host, sort of, Rory. I almost call myself AJ again, like I did that one time. And this is my co-host, Rory. Say hi to AJ, everybody.
How's it going?
And yeah, here we are. Another week, another batch of 3 episodes. If you like it, give it that thumbs up. If you want to see the next episode,
Subscribe.
And if you want to talk about AJ's hat today, make sure you put a comment down in the comments down below.
If you think Rory should just shut his door to begin with, leave a comment down below.
The problem with that is then Mosley and Dutch come over and try to yank it open. So, no matter what, it doesn't turn out well for me. But, let's get started with Season 2, Episode 7. A talent.
Wait, we started with Episode 7?
Yeah.
Oh. Oops.
I'm
just kidding.
Oh, I was like, what episode did you start with? Yeah, I was watching this episode, and it reminded me of an episode we already watched. It was like they were on an island of Dragonite, and there was a dragon there. Anyways, with AJ's little goof out of the way, so we start out a talent for imitation, and it set the scene. The episode starts with Go catching a Rattata or Rattata, whatever you call it. And Ash and Go are talking about how they're going to go see a movie be filmed, which they've never done before, which sounded pretty cool. And apparently it's a story of twin Gardevoir, but one of them played by a Ditto. And I already knew I was going to love this episode. So we see the Ditto, and the Ditto is adorable.
It really is. It's like a little kitten.
It's so cute. It's just a little pile of mush with a smiley face, or in this episode, a sad face for most of it.
Yeah.
But Team Rocket shows up. They get kicked off the back lot. Jessie's kind of like, she wants to act, but they kick her out. And so the scene starts. The movie begins, and the Gardevoir, they turn to each other, and then one of them, in the middle of the scene, turns into Ditto. Ditto lost its mojo. So the director is super not happy about this, and he starts yelling at the Ditto, and the Ditto gets just the saddest face you've ever seen in your whole life. And there will be a picture of that right now. So enjoy that adorable sad Ditto, everybody.
Yeah. It's a super depressing, beginning.
It is. Episode. Yes, this Ditto is being abused. But so Ditto's hiding in a tree, and Team Rocket walks by, and Ditto's handler comes out. And right then, Jessie walks by, so Ditto jumps in her bag. And we learn during this time the handler's talking to Ash and Go, and they're talking about how this Ditto is a super talented Ditto. And the director is apparently who discovered it in the first place. And then she starts giving those BS excuses that abusers give, where they're like, oh, he just wants the best out of Ditto. That's why he's yelling at it. And I'm like, you're an enabler, lady. So Team Rocket finds the Ditto, and Meowth decides that it should join Team Rocket so that they can help steal Pokemon. And then it starts turning into a bunch of Pokemon. They just start being like, this Pokemon. They're like, Absol. And it turns into Absol, but it's got the
Ditto face.
It's got the Ditto face. So all of these monsters, then it creates, it becomes a Salamence. And the Salamence is actually pretty good, but then its tail is all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Ditto's just having a rough time. So Ditto gets really depressed again, just like before. And Jessie gives it a pep talk, and the Ditto gets pumped. There's like flames behind it, and it's like, let's do this, brother.
It was funny.
Yeah. So Jesse starts showing the Ditto how they're gonna do like magic tricks together, but really they're gonna steal Pokemon. They're gonna basically be magicians and do the whole I'm teleporting you from this box to this box, but in the other box it's gonna be Ditto, and then they're gonna steal the other Pokemon. And then they're like, what happens with Ditto? And then
do you have to go check on your third child?
He already ran in here because Frankie yelled at him.
I'm talking about Frankie.
Bazoo's in the sink, so Frankie yelled at him. Because I was just sitting here, all of a sudden I heard like spoons fall. It was like silverware falling. Don't go back out there. But anyways, so they're gonna keep the Pokemon. And then they're like, well, what about Ditto? Ditto's going to be taken away by these people. And Jesse's literally just like, it's smart. It'll find its way home. So they start out with their scam on the street corner.
And they're dressed up.
Yeah, they're like dressed up like clowns. Well, Jesse's like a magician, and then James and Meowth are clowns.
Mm-hmm. And then Wobbuffet's just Wobbuffet.
Wobbuffet's just being Wobbuffet. But Ditto keeps messing up its faces while they're trying to do this. So I just like people keep being like, that's not my Pokemon.
Do you remember when it was like they were asking it to be different Pokemon, and then it like was turning into Wobbuffet?
Yes, I do.
Okay, did you notice that the tail that usually has the eyes had Ditto? It had Ditto face on the tail.
I did not, but that's amazing. And that speaks to a theory we posted about on the Instagram once about the tail actually being Wobbuffet.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I didn't see that, honestly. So Jesse, and then there was a funny scene where it transforms into Hoppip, and it actually, because Hoppip basically already has the Ditto face, but the trainer still knew it was not his Hoppip. And I think they make the same joke about Wooper too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're like, you looked a lot like that Wooper. But Jesse gives it a pep talk, and at that point it like becomes clear to them that Ditto needs like positive reinforcement. Like it doesn't do well when it's nervous. It basically gets stage fright.
Right. It gets like it has like really bad anxiety if it can't do anything right.
Yeah, so they start like talking about what they do when they're nervous, and James says that he checks if his feet stink whenever he's nervous, and everybody's like, "What?" It was a really weird. It was a goofy scene. So then we get a bunch of views of what Team Rocket wants to do with Ditto, like their like dreams of Ditto. And I know like one of them is like being whisked away with like by a Charizard.
Yeah.
So they basically Team Rocket does another trap, and Ash is an idiot and falls for it immediately.
Wasn't when they were talking about smelling the feet where they talked about slapping themselves?
Yes, yeah, that's like Jesse's like basically like get a hold of yourself, and then Ditto does it too.
Because that was hilarious when Ditto started smacking himself. But it was also, I don't know if it was for you, but it was for me. But Jessie was just very suggestive in the way that she was talking about how she liked to be slapped.
I did not pick up on that. You dirty boy. No, I did not pick up on that at all.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Watch out.
So Ash ends up falling for a Team Rocket trap because he's a moron. Like he hasn't seen these people do this a million times, and they steal Pikachu. So right as Team Rocket tells Ditto what to do, basically Ditto's like that lady shows up. I assume it's like Ditto's manager or just like Ditto's handler. She shows up, and Ditto gets too nervous to attack, and then Raboot like jumps behind the whole thing and just like kicks the little thing that Pikachu was stuck in.
It was like a little metal cylinder with like a little area for his eyes to look out of.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Gengar cylinder a little bit. But Raboot kicks it and frees Pikachu. And Team Rocket at this point, they're like, let's get out of here. So they run off with Ditto. And they're like hiding, and they start to basically, you can tell they're starting to be like, Ditto needs to go back to its
Yeah.
owners. Even though Jessie clearly doesn't really want Ditto to go back, she's kind of like the one that's formed a bond with it. But they're like, okay, we need to have Ditto go back. So they're like, we have a plan. And then we cut to Team Rocket, and they show up, and they're being like comically evil, like even more so than normal.
Right.
And like even Wobbuffet is like Wobbuffet, like it's like trying to act like super evil.
How was it?
Wobbuffet. So they're like ransoming Ditto back to its manager. And it's like clear that they're just playing along so that Ditto can go back.
Right.
And Team Rocket's like begging Ash to send them blasting off with a thunderbolt. They're like, come on, do it. And finally Ash is like, all right. And Team Rocket goes flying off with a thunderbolt.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically cut back to Team Rocket, and Jessie's like clearly missing Ditto already, but is like proud of it. Like it's like, go get him. So we cut back to the studio, and Ditto's nervous, but then it remembers Jessie's speech, and it like does the slap itself.
Yep.
And then it goes out and it executes the scene perfectly.
It's like, I'm a boss.
I'm a Ditto boss. So that's the end of that episode. We'll get to our thoughts at the end.
Yeah.
So then we go into season 2, episode 8. Dreams are made of these. And we start out, and Chloe is there. So I had high hopes at this point.
High hopes.
And Chloe's here to wake up Ash and Go because it's Pokemon Orienteering Day at the lab. And Ash and Go are basically guides for it.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically have like, there's, 6 kids there? And they're split into 3 different teams. One team's going to go with Ash, one team's going to go with Go, and one team's going to go with the professor.
Was it the professor or was it Chloe?
No, it wasn't Chloe. I thought it was going to be Chloe because that team was represented by Yamper.
Yeah.
But remember, Chloe is with Go.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is right.
Yeah, no, in the beginning, I thought it was going to be Chloe, too. So, and basically, they're just going out to go try to observe Pokemon. And I think whoever observes the most is wins. They have to get to the harbor in Vermilion City, and whoever gets there and sees the most Pokemon wins.
Correct.
So they all go off on their own way, and Ash's team is first, and they see a Persian in a tree, and all I could think about at this point was how terrifying that would be in real life, because that's like seeing a cougar in a tree when you're like in this, like you're just walking through the city and there's just a cougar chilling in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that is horrifying. So then we see like a bunch of Meowths show up, and then basically they all run off, and Ash's team follows them. And then there's like 3 Rattata like sleeping, and the Persian and the Meowths are like watching it, and I was like, this is like getting National Geographic in here. Like they're about to eat these Rattata. But then Eradicate shows up to kind of even the odds.
I thought it was cool though how like they did the like them pouncing and like the claws were like glowing. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, this scene was pretty cool in general. I was like, this seriously is like a National Geographic. Like we're about to see predator and prey action here.
Yeah.
So they throw down, and Eradicate kind of evens the odds. So we get we don't watch them fight. We just get a back and forth of like what moves they're using. But right as the battle is coming up, a cop shows up and ruins it all with her Growlithe. It's Officer Jenny, and her Growlithe is very cute. And that's all I have to say about Officer Jenny.
Are you sure?
No. So Growlithe's really cute. And Team Rocket shows up again at this point, and I was like, are they in like every episode now? Like, I felt like in the beginning they were like really pacing Team Rocket, but then I was
Yeah.
like, they're just here every episode now.
Well, the episode before that was like their own episode almost.
And I will say, jumping ahead, they are not in the next episode. So I was wrong. But at this point, I was thinking, Team Rocket's in every single one of these episodes. Am I wrong? Are they in the next episode?
I don't think so. I don't think you're
No,
right.
I don't think so.
I'm
But
just
yeah.
thinking about my revelation that I had about Team
Oh,
Rocket.
why don't you tell everybody the revelation you had about Team Rocket?
So I was sitting here and I was like, because if you never notice, Jesse and James are very meticulous on the way they pose.
During their
And
theme song, right?
yeah, during their
Or their
theme song.
motto.
Yeah. And they end up making it the Team Rocket R with the pose that they're with. And I thought that was like mind blowing.
No worries, everybody. I will make that the episode picture for this episode. So, yeah, no, Jesse's hair is like the circular or oval part of the R.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. Now we cut to Go's team, which Chloe is on, as we spoke about earlier. And at this point, I was like, yep, let's just hang out with this team because Chloe's the best. And Chloe proves that she's the best here because she is just frying Go up left and right. She is literally goes like, I'm an adult. I remember when I was a kid, and Chloe's like,
You're
yeah,
still
okay,
a kid.
you're still a kid. And then I can't remember. They say something about Pokemon battles, and she's like, you don't even like battling. And then Go responds to her, and she's like, yeah, okay, whatever, and just like walks off like after he says something.
Yeah.
It's
She was like, okay. And then walked away.
okay. And then this starts off with starting to become my least favorite part of all of this series is watching Go catch a bunch of Pokemon in a row with no contact. They just throw in Pokeballs. I wrote down Go catches a bunch of Pokemon without any battling. Yawn.
One thing that I thought was very annoying was he kept shouting, Pokemon, let's go!
Yeah.
Every time he went to go catch a Pokemon.
I was just like, every time we do these like cutaways with Go catching Pokemon, I just get bored. I'm like, I just watch you throw a Pokeball, it wiggles 3 times, and you caught it. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen you do this a million times. Now, this part was cool, though. He lets all his Pokemon out, and, you know, Chloe doesn't really, like, Chloe's weird around Pokemon, and they all, like, crowd on her, and she's, like, not about it.
She's like, can you get off of me, please?
Yeah, you could tell she's so uncomfortable. So, I did like that part, but, you know, Chloe fixes everything in this show. So, Go, this part's good, though. Go sees a Farfetch'd, and he throws a Pokeball at it, and it, baseball style, cracks the Pokeball back in his face, and it makes that exact same face from that other episode where the Pokeball's, like, embedded inside of his face. And that part was good.
I, like, knew what was going to happen, too, when it came out. I was like, yep.
He just...
Smacked him in the face.
Well, and then I was like... I was trying to remember. He caught a Pidgey, and I was like, "Didn't we already watch you catch a Pidgey?" But then I remembered. I think in the episode, it's like the first episode where he decides to catch a bunch of Pokemon. I think if I remember right, he tried to catch a Pidgey, but it broke out. I think, but maybe he did catch a Pidgey before.
Who knows?
So we cut back to Ash's group, and Ash is challenged to a battle. In the World Coronation thing, he like gets a message on his phone. It's like,
well, before that, wasn't there another
Let's
point?
not forget.
Didn't Chloe like call out Go? She's like, can you like teach them about Pokemon instead of catching them all?
Yes, she sure did. And I was like, preach.
He's like, oh yeah. And that's like when he let him out.
Yeah, preach. So then Ash is like, I can't battle, but the kids are like, we want to see a battle,
Yeah.
so do it. So they end up Ash's opponent is Oliver, who's from Goldenrod City, aka the city with the best theme music,
I
and
like
also
his hair.
Whitney's Mill Tank. What was his hair like? Oh, it was green, right?
It was green, and then there was like pink along the.
Yeah. Okay, I
Yeah.
remember. But yeah, Whitney's Mill Tank is in Goldenrod City, and I'm not about that. So Oliver sends out a Meganium, which makes sense because he's from Johto. So the battle starts, and Meganium uses Razor Leaf. Pikachu like catches them with Electro Web, and then we get another instance of a character going, "Use this move repeatedly." It's
Yeah.
like use Body Slam repeatedly.
Well, let's also not forget
Let's not forget.
that
We're gonna put that on a shirt one day.
those kids are adorable when they're like watching the fight on Ash's Rotom
Mm-hmm.
phone, and they're like, "What's this Pokemon?" They're like sitting on the sideline, like learning about Pokemon while they're watching an insane fight.
Yeah, so Ash is doing his job. I'm like, go.
Yeah.
So Meganium charges and launches off a huge solar beam, and Pikachu like barely survives. It's like all messed up, and the dude thinks he's won. He's like, "This game over." But then Pikachu gets up. The dude tells him to use Body Slam again, but Pikachu basically uses Iron Tail to use its momentum to flip it into the ground. And Ash wins and tells the kids about the joys of Pokemon battling. And Ash gets ranked up to rank 1,512.
Was it?
Yes. I wrote it down specifically. 1,512.
Well, you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
No. So then we cut back to Go, and again I wrote back to Go catching Pokemon,
But
capital letters, yawn.
the kids fried him up though.
Who fried who up? Oh, Ash.
They're like, "Are you good?"
You didn't say your motto.
They're like, "Are you good?" And then he was like, "Well, I'm this rank out of 10,000, so I guess not."
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, so I guess not. And then, but then he's like, but there's like 10,000 people, so I'm okay. Then we cut back to Go putting me to sleep by catching Pokemon. And then Farfetch shows back up and Goes tries to catch it again, and Farfetch again cracks it right back in his face. So,
once again,
all the
very
teams,
pleasant to watch.
It is. I enjoyed it, especially this episode because Go was annoying me. So, Go's so hit and miss with me. Some episodes I really like Go, and other episodes I'm like, man, you're really annoying.
I just am not a fan of Go.
I definitely don't like him in this episode. I liked him in the Christmassy episode, the one where it was snowing when he went home to see his parents. I liked that episode.
That was a good episode. The one episode out of the how many that we watched.
So all the teams meet up at the Vermilion Port, and of course Team Rocket shows up, but they're disguised, and they convince them that Lugia showed up, and it's just like, it's clearly a Lugia balloon, but these people are morons, and they're like, all right, raid battle time, and so all their Pokemon are out, and Team Rocket catches them in a cage, because that's what Team Rocket does. So, what?
Let's not forget. Yamper wants to fight.
Yamper does want to fight.
And they're like, Chloe, and she's like, she's gonna be a Pokemon trainer, and I'm just calling it now.
I hope so. I want to see it. I want her to go on their adventures. But yeah, so the Lugia balloon starts to fly off. And then, bafflingly, I was taken aback by the random and, like, it's Lugia actually shows up and destroys the balloon. And I was like, this is so stupid. We'll get to more later, but I was like, really? The real Lugia just happened to show up at this moment and destroy the balloon? Dumb. So, anyways, the capsule machine gets summoned from the Pelipper, and Jesse and James pull Skarmory and one of my favorites, Crobat.
Yeah,
So,
that was really cool.
yeah, we don't get much of a fight here. It's basically it's Go and Raboot versus Ash and Pikachu. Go uses so the first attack they try doesn't really do anything. I don't remember what attack they use, honestly. There's only two attacks. They use one attack, it doesn't work, and then they go on to this one where Go is like basically Go tells Raboot to use Ember on Pikachu, and so it does this little kick the rock Ember, and then Pikachu uses Iron Tail to smash it back in Team Rocket's face, and they go blasting off again. So
Yeah.
as
Real
they
quick
do.
appearance.
Yes, very quick. But they had a Crobat, so I'm okay. So we find out Professor Cerise's team is the team that won. No shock, because the other two teams were getting distracted.
Yeah.
But one of the kids that follows Go and one of the kids that follows Ash decide that they basically want to follow Ash and Go in their dreams. The one kid that was following Go wants to catch all the Pokemon. And the one kid that followed Ash wants to become a Pokemon trainer.
I want to be the best.
Yeah. So Farfetch just happens to walk by at that moment, and Go sees it again, and Farfetch like gets ready to swing, and then right as it like puts up his bat, Go is like, what's this? Curveball, and then the ball's like right here and just like smashes the
We calls it a switch up.
switch up. That's what it was. And Go catches it. And then this is where they saved everything from me being pissed earlier, because they show Lugia flying off, and it turns out it was fucking Mew the whole time. And I was like, okay, you saved yourself. But also, does that mean that Mew is following Go everywhere he goes now?
Right.
So I hope they do more with that in the future, of like, oh my god, that Pokemon was actually Mew the whole time.
Yeah, like little Easter eggs.
Yeah. So then we reach Season 2, Episode 9, Caring for a Mystery. So we start out at the Pokemon Center, and Nurse Joy is caring for an egg that she is basically saying has been an egg for like a ridiculous amount of time. Then just coincidentally, the lab is also abuzz with talk about Pokemon eggs. So Professor Cerise's lab, they're just Pokemon eggs are mysterious, and then we find out that no one has ever seen a Pokemon lay an egg.
Yeah.
And that apparently there's a theory that Pokemon literally just randomly find their eggs just laying around. And I was like, that's a dumb theory. I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. They just happen to find an egg that just happens to be their exact species just laying around.
Like, sweet.
I was like, that is dumb. Did an 8-year-old come up with that one? So Ash states that Go's like, I want to see a Pokemon egg. And I liked this part because Ash is like, I've seen Pokemon eggs. Because Ash was not only was he around when Togepi hatched in the original series, but Ash had his own Pokemon egg in Johto, which hatched into Phanpy, which is his Donphan now.
Donphan.
Yeah. So Ash and Go are basically like, we're going to go find a Pokemon egg. So, like, they're literally out in a field.
Well, Go is like, I'm going to go find a Pokemon egg. And then, what was that dude's name? The blonde one?
Oh, Ren?
Yeah, Ren was like, that's, like, impossible. And then he was like, well, I'm going to try. And then Ash was like, let's go.
So, yeah, they're, like, literally just out in a field looking for eggs. And then in the distance, they see an egg, which was very clearly an Execute the second I saw it. And, of course, Go catches it without a battle. So they took that and made it boring.
Yep.
So then Ash gets a challenge from another trainer for a ranking battle. in the World Coronation Series.
The
And this
World
fight,
Coronation Series.
the World Coronation Series. This battle is actually pretty cool. I did like this battle. The challenger is Hayden, and he uses a Tauros. And the battle starts, and while the battle's going on, like every time there's like a big move, it like cuts back to like the Pokemon egg at the Pokemon Center, and it's
Yeah.
like wiggling.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what did you think about this fight?
An 8.
Okay.
Because there's a cool scene where Tauros uses Iron Head, and all of a sudden its head turns to iron, and then just freaking crack. And it was cool. It was cool.
You're like
But
in your room. You're like, fuck yeah!
Tauros! I don't say freaking that much, so that felt weird. But I'm trying not to cuss in this episode. But yeah, it was just a cool. It was a cool little thing. Its face turned to iron, and then it just cracked. But it's not very long, and Pikachu knocks it out with a Thunderbolt. So, and then right as Pikachu knocks it out with a Thunderbolt, the egg gives off like an aura, and Ash feels it. He
His
feels
spidey
it
senses are
calling.
tingling.
Yes, he feels it calling to him as he explains to go. So they follow it to the Pokemon Center, mostly because Ash needs to heal Pikachu. But he also felt the siren call. And we get a cute scene where Pikachu is getting healed by Nurse Joy, and she puts a little antiseptic thing on his little busted tail, and he just like cries and like shrieks. It's adorable.
I like how, because I don't think this is the first time that they've done this, but it's like the little like exam like table bed thing that like people sit on, and they put the Pokemon on it. I don't know. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, no, it's cute, and Pikachu's super cute in that scene. So, Ash basically then starts following the feelings he's getting about the egg into the back room where it is, and like while they're talking to it, it like basically rolls off towards Ash, like out of its little incubator, and Pikachu's like looking at it, and Pikachu is like interested in it, and Ash was like, "Yeah, you can touch it," and I was like, "Nurse Joy didn't tell you that. Why? You don't get to choose that." I thought Ash overstepped his boundaries.
Well, he had
So
already touched it at that point. She didn't
that's
say
true.
anything.
That's true. So
He was just feeling out the vibe, man.
yeah, he like starts touching. He's like, "The egg is warm," and Nurse Joy's like, "Why don't you take it with you?" That and basically says the egg is from Sinnoh, and that tons of people have taken it, but it won't hatch. So I knew at this point what the Pokemon was between being from Sinnoh and giving off aura pulses, but can I help you?
How is that like a thing with that Pokemon? Oh, okay.
So they take it back to the lab, and Professor Cerise tells them a story about because they're like, oh, it's in an egg, it can't hear you. And then Professor Cerise is like, there was once a Jigglypuff who had an egg that had an Azurill, and it would sing to it all the time. And then once the Azurill hatched, it sang Jigglypuff's song perfectly. And then Go, because he was being a butthole about it, went over and like apologized to the egg.
Go once again being annoying.
Yeah. So Ash takes the egg out into the like where all the Pokemon are, and he calls Dragonite over, and Dragonite tries to hug the egg, but Ash is like, "Let's wait for it to hatch," and so it hugs Pikachu instead, and Pikachu apparently Dragonite gives great hugs because Pikachu loves it.
Yeah.
So which I thought was rare. I was like, you want to show it to Dragonite, but where's Gengar? Like, I feel like if Dragonite's in an episode, Gengar can't be in an episode, and if Gengar's in an episode, Dragonite can't be in an episode. When have you ever seen those two together?
Yeah, but why would Gengar be in the? Why would he show the egg to Gengar?
Why did he show it to Dragonite?
Because Dragonite's the friendly one.
What?
He wants to meet everybody.
The egg's not even hatched.
Yeah, but he's like, hey, you're gonna have a new buddy soon.
So you couldn't tell Gengar he's got a new buddy?
Yeah, but Gengar's not all buddy.
You be nice to Gengar.
I am. But that's why he's
So
saying
anyways,
Dragonite.
cutting off the hater over there.
I'm not being a hater. I'm just
Ash
saying
and Go
that's
are
why he did
sleeping
it.
that night. They're sleeping that night. And the egg begins to glow. And so they all wake up, and the egg hatches into Riolu. And Ash like tries to touch it, and Riolu just like blasts him away with a vacuum wave, and then just busts out the window and runs off.
Which was hilarious because he
Yeah, it was just like
hits this
"Bah!"
little Pokemon and knocks out the whole window frame.
Yeah, he just. So Riolu runs out, and then we like see Riolu, and it ends up like jumping on a Poliwrath, and it pisses the Poliwrath off, which pisses off the Poliwag and the Poliwhirl around it, and they all just light it up with Bubble Beam, and it just gets the crap beat out of it. And then we basically, what I wrote here was Riolu spends the night getting beat up by a bunch of Pokemon, because then we just get to a montage of Riolu just getting the shit beat out of it over and over. So Ash and Go are out looking for it, and finally they hear like a battle, and it's Riolu battling an Onix. So they show up, and Pikachu uses Iron Tail on Onix, I guess. I don't remember that very well. And then Riolu tells... Basically, Ash protects it with Pikachu using Iron Tail. And then Riolu tells Ash it wants to get stronger and lets Ash command it in battle. So then it uses Vacuum Wave, and that like knocks Onix back. And then it basically punches in the face real hard. And then it loads up another attack, and Onix just dips. It just jumps and goes into the ground, and it's gone.
He's like, bye.
Yeah. So Riolu is like beat up and needs to go to the Pokemon Center, and Ash offers to carry it there. But Riolu's like, nah, bruh, I can walk, thanks. And so then when they're at the Pokemon Center, Riolu's acting like weird, and Nurse Joy's like, I think it wants you to catch it. So Ash catches it. Real quick, the Pokeball only wiggles once. And that's the end of the episode. And that's the end of all 3 episodes. What did you think about these 3 episodes, AJ?
My honest opinion?
Yeah, honest opinion.
I thought episode 7 was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought 8 and 9 were very boring.
I have similar feelings. I thought episode 7 was up there with some of my favorite episodes of the entire series, which is funny because it's just a straight filler episode. Nothing of importance happens in that episode, but it was entertaining from start to finish. Right. And I loved the Ditto, and I loved everything with Team Rocket, which is a really good episode. I watched that one, and I was like, okay. And then episode 8 was one of my least favorite episodes in a long time. I did not like this episode. The only good part of this episode was Chloe frying up Go.
Exactly.
This is maybe up there as my least favorite episode of the entire show so far. I really did not like this episode at all.
I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of the last 2 episodes.
So episode 9 for me, I didn't dislike it in the way I disliked 8. I just thought it was very forgettable and very rushed. I was like, we literally saw this egg. Like, I felt like they could have built up the egg, like, over some episodes. Like, Ash takes the egg with him, and then, you know, it's with him for a few episodes, and then it hatches. I just thought it was, like, so quick. He gets the egg, and then that night it hatches, it runs off. He protects it from an Onix, and then it wants to be his Pokemon. And I was like...
Exactly.
That was so fast, and there's, like, no build-up. I don't know. I thought that episode was just super rushed.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it. I just was meh on it. I disliked it a lot. Um, the other thing that's, I don't know if this is weird for you. It seems like Raboot's whole not listening to go thing. Did they just drop that? Because he commands it multiple times in these episodes, and it listens to him with just fine.
I think it's more of like he's just kind of acting.
He's kind of what?
I don't know, like they aren't. They haven't like disbanded that idea at all. I don't think. I think it's just a lot more lax with what they're doing because all he has now is just an attitude.
Yeah, but
So
it's just like for me, it's like it seems like he's just listening to him just fine now, unlike before.
I'm trying to
I don't know, I
think
thought,
because I thought there was like one instance and it was like with the Ditto where like he was gonna like tell Raboot to do something and Raboot was already just on his way to do it.
okay, that did happen.
Yeah,
He's like Raboot go, and then Raboot's like already ready to fight.
yeah.
So I think it's not so much that Raboot is not listening to him, so much as Raboot just wants to fight, and Go isn't really much of a fighter.
It's like who's
So
trying to catch these hands?
well, yeah, I think that's kind of my take on it. 7, really, really good. 8,
Yeah.
very, very bad. 9, meh. It was fine. Well, that's
okay.
it for 7, 8, and 9. We will not be doing an episode next week, but we will be back the week after that to wrap up season 2.
Are you
So
going to?
what? What?
Are you going to be back?
Yeah, I'll be
That
back.
week?
Yeah, I'll be back the next week.
The week of Valentine's Day?
Mm-hmm. I'll be here.
Okay.
I won't be here next week.
Okay.
Yeah. So there won't be an episode next week, but we will have an episode the week after. So make sure you watch episodes 10, 11, and 12, wrapping up season 2. And we will be here to go over that. Make sure if you like it, you leave a like. If you want to see the next episode, hit subscribe. If you want to be notified when it comes out, hit the bell. And if you want to leave a comment about AJ holding his phone on his nose like a weirdo right now and trying to tell me when I'm going on vacation, leave a comment down below. We will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wait. This is the last time they're going to see wood paneling in a video.
Yes,
So,
AJ's moving this week,
yeah.
tomorrow. So say goodbye to the wood paneling, everybody.
Bye.
And with that, we'll not only say goodbye to the wood paneling, say goodbye to you all. Goodbye.
See you later.